From the national newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. Some officials have suggested Donald Trump's threats of damaging tariffs are part of his strategy to rattle Canada and Mexico ahead of a 2026 review of our trilateral trade pact. When questioned by reporters last night, Trump denied his threat was part of a plan to expedite negotiations.
No, it's really not on U.S. It has nothing to do with that. They've allowed both of them, Canada very much so. They've allowed millions and millions of people to come into our country that shouldn't be here. They could have stopped them.
Trump also claimed the volume of fentanyl coming through Canada was massive. His statements conflict, though, with American data. U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported that between October of 2023 and September of 24, nearly 10,000 kilograms of fentanyl was seized at American borders, but only 20 kilos of that was at the Canada-U.S. border. During the same period, 2.9 million people were apprehended and less than 200,000 came from Canada. BC Premier David Eby is urging British Columbians to rethink trips to the U.S. and purchases of American products as the province establishes a business task force to respond to Trump's threatened across-the-board tariffs.
You're planning your summer vacations. If the tariff threat is realized, the deliberate economic attack on families in our province, in our country, by the President of the United States, that we should really be thinking carefully about spending our money in that country.
The Canadian Armed Forces is no longer automatically disqualifying applicants with certain medical conditions as it works to grow the size of our military. The country's top soldier says the 4 conditions that will now be evaluated when people apply are attention deficit disorder, anxiety, asthma, and allergies. Canadian Press reporter Rob Westgate tells us the changed rules came into effect this month.
The Chief of the Defense Staff, General Jenny Carignan, says health sciences and technology have changed enough that the medical problems of the past are not so insurmountable today.
Unless you have a very, very severe case of allergy that within the trade or operational fields that you are choosing, you may not have access to the medical support to allow you to proceed.
Carignan says the organization is looking at a recruitment target of around 6,500 for the year. Much of eastern Canada is shivering through frigid temperatures and wind chills from an Arctic air mass that has drifted south this week. Environment Canada has extreme cold warnings up for parts of northern Manitoba and most of Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick. A rare frigid storm dropped record snowfall on Texas and the northern Gulf Coast, blanketing New Orleans and Houston with up to 25 centimeters of snow yesterday. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Pierre-Luc Dubois had a goal and a helper, and the Washington Capitals won their 5th in a row with a 3-2 decision over the Edmonton Oilers. Captain Connor McDavid sat out the first game of his 3-game suspension for a cross-check to the head of a Canuck Saturday. The Buffalo Sabres scored a 3-2 win over the Vancouver Canucks. Montreal rallied to a 3-2 win over Tampa Bay, and the Ottawa Senators were blanked 5-0 by the New York Rangers. The Toronto Raptors recovered from a slow start and a 16-point deficit in the first quarter and beat the visiting Orlando Magic 109-93. And the Toronto Blue Jays formally introduced newly added slugger Anthony Santander Tuesday after signing him to a 5-year contract. He hit 44 home runs for the Baltimore Orioles last season, and he's excited to get started with the Blue Jays.
I can't wait to be with my brothers, get better every single day, and go after the championships. That's what we're looking for. That's what I'm here for.
From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.